Titties and testicles.
That's the new show name. What's going on, guys, and welcome to another episode of Tasty Tuesday on Tasty Loot Gaming. In case you don't know, Tasty Tuesday is a show where we talk about gaming news of the prior week. My name's Seth.
I'm Chris.
I'm Frank.
And I'm Brandon.
And quick reminder, make sure to play Plus Club games for this month. That is Grim Fandango Remastered and Hardware Rivals. I'm currently playing it myself. Hopefully you guys are doing the same. But we got a bunch of news this week, so let's get into that. Actually, before that, just want to say real quick, because I didn't get a chance last week, rest in peace, David Bowie and Alan Rickman. You will be missed. That shit sucks.
Didn't like the original voice of Winnie the Pooh die, or Robin Hood die too?
Yes.
God damn. Everyone's fucking... Dude, this year's starting out bad.
Mm-hmm.
But let's get into the news. So, Eidos, the subsidiary now of Square Enix, has said that the new Hitman coming out will be episodic. The intro pack, which will be the base game, will be $15, and each pack after that will be $10. Each pack will have 2 missions apiece, and you can pay $60 for the year's worth of content. What do we think of Hitman being episodic? Very much like the new Final Fantasy VII.
I've never been a big fan of Hitman. I've played the games. It's fun, but it seems like that's the way that video games are going these days. Short episodic bursts for smaller packages, and then playing extra money here and there for little extra details. All in all, if it's a full game and the price is equal to buying a full game, I don't have a big problem with it.
I think it's going to take advantage, if it's not going to be, just a 4-bit episode, it's going to take advantage of the people that didn't buy the year-long expansion and then paying an additional $15 per episode. So if you don't take advantage of the opportunity to buy the full game at the $60 traditional new game price, then you're going to end up paying an arm and a leg for the whole game.
Definitely.
I think it's just stupid, the whole episodic thing. I mean, I'm paying you money. Give me a full game. I'm not going to sit there and give you $15 to wait another 2-4 months for the next episode so I can wait another 2 to 4 months for the final part. Give me the whole game. I don't want this stupid episodic crap.
Well, I think the problem with episodic games, too, is it's usually like the consumer demand for the actual game is so high that they try to plug the game out as fast as they can. And to kind of counterbalance not producing a full game to its full potential, they give you small segments of the game to their full potential, and altogether you end up with a full game that would take longer to make, but you're getting little bursts of it ahead of time.
I think it's a way of them covering their asses.
For me, as a Hitman fan, I really like the series. The last one actually kind of was underwhelming for me. It kind of took away from the open nature of every mission and being able to do all these different things to get through the game, and try to make it more linear and storyline based, and that's fine. I can get behind that a little bit, but the gameplay suffered from it. And now this next game is essentially, like kind of what you were saying, it screams to me that they're just releasing an unfinished product that they're planning on finishing, but they want you to pay for that. Mm-hmm. And if, say, there's enough content there that each thing should be, $10 a pop, the first part's $15, so you're essentially going to be paying $65 at the very least, or they're trying to pressure you into buying all the episodes, years worth of content of stuff we don't even know is going to be good or not early. Mm-hmm. It's, for me, another disappointment in this franchise, and it's threatening the integrity of it for me personally. Are any of you interested in purchasing this game?
I never have purchased one, and I probably never will.
Hitman didn't cater to the style of play that I was. It definitely catered to anybody who could be incredibly stealthy, not just go balls out and blatantly murder a target in the most open way possible. So I'm more than likely not going to buy it.
I own a lot of the Hitman games. I found them fun, but if it's going to be episodic, then there's that chance that they will discontinue making it at some point. So no, I'm not going to buy it if it's episodic.
Yeah, and people say it 1,000 times, all the time, fucking, you got to speak with your money, essentially, when it comes to this. That's their feedback. You can say everything, you bitch about it. If you bought it, they don't care. Mm-hmm. They already got their money, and they're going to do it again. So this is one of those cases where, as much as I do want to play the new Hitman, I don't want to support this structure. I don't like it. I don't think it's going to help the game at all. I don't want to wait for more missions in the game that I would rather just be complete. I'd rather them just focus on a game, make it good. So I'm probably not going to buy it unless it's just that good. But I don't think it's going to happen.
I think they could have chose a better game format for an episodic sequence.
Yeah, I mean, Hitman is such a weird one. Like, it is mission based, but at the same time, like, I don't want to play 4 missions of Hitman and just wait for the next 2 to come out. It's not The Walking Dead. Walking Dead can play off that well because it has that cliffhanger thing going on. You're like, oh shit, and drives the hype. It helps the game. But Hitman, I'm just like, how many times do I want to play these maps and then fucking wait for the new ones? I don't even know if they're going to be fucking good.
Yeah.
I already gave them my money, or they're planning on taking more money from me. So it's disappointing all around. For a second bit of news, there were rumors that the Xbox 360 servers were going to be coming down very soon, within the next couple months. Phil Spencer has come out and said that this is not true, and that the 360 servers will be around for at least 3 more years, as they are very profitable on a 10-year console. What do we think of the prospect of them still supporting the 360? Do we care about that? And would you guys be upset if the 360 servers disappeared?
No, I wouldn't be upset. I haven't touched my 360s in so long.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
The 360 was the last actual console that I owned before I made the transition to PC gaming. I mean, it's still the only. I don't own a next gen system. I play on them when I'm at a friend's house. I play a 360.
Go.
I'm sorry, I've advanced. I'm not part of the PC master race.
I got both.
No, you're playing PC, so you're up there. You're play modern games.
I loved my 360, and I think so long as they can keep making money on it, then why put a time restraint on? If 3 years is the mark and that's the to be expected date for it to come down, then I think that's just a way for them to grab more money. Like, hey, you're not gonna be able to play these games in 3 years. Buy this now and avoid that issue.
Well, for the people who are playing 360, I think it's fair. I think that's more than fair to give them 13 years of servers. That's actually impressive, in my opinion, for a console that, in my opinion, is done.
Yeah.
But obviously, a lot of people are still using it. It's profitable, so of course, if they're making money off it, there's no reason to take them down. Once they start losing the money, that's when they'll take them down. It makes sense.
Yeah.
I was actually, when I read the story, really impressed that I didn't even realize they were still up. Like, I mean, I don't know. So, what do you think, Frank?
I mean, like you said, it's impressive that they've kept it up this long, but at the same time, you look at the original Xbox, and those servers were up God knows how long, so given that information, it's not as impressive, but I'm glad that they're keeping them up for those people who may not financially be able to afford the next gen consoles.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with them shutting them down, but that's because I have a next gen console.
Exactly, and I mean, like, the only things I would really miss is like any of like the Halos, maybe, but like with the backwards compatibility of the Xbox One, I don't have to worry about that because the servers are different already. So I have access to that, and I think for me, it just comes down to where I'm at. I have the new console. I don't need the 360 anymore. For people who do need it, I get that, and I think it's cool. But yeah, if they went away from me too, I wouldn't have even noticed. I thought they were already gone. So, for a third bit of news, a fan made a Half-Life standalone game called Prospect. He sent it into Valve as in hopes that they would offer him a job. He used assets from the game. His name's Richard Seabrook. He worked on it for 18 months and spent thousands of hours into it. Valve has actually approved this to be sold on Steam for $10. Has not offered him a job, but this is actually super rare for a company to allow a fan-made product of their game to be sold on their own proprietary, hub of gaming. What do we think of that?
I think it's great. Honestly, it shows that hard work and dedication in anything you do can actually pay off in the long run. Especially something as big as Valve.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it's bringing in something that people have wanted for a while, which was the Half-Life 3. Some type of Half-Life 3.
That's what I got from it. I feel like that wait for Half-Life 3, people are just going to make their own Half-Life 3s at this point. Yeah. So.
It gives them something to look forward to in the meantime. Valve will drag their Half-Life 2 fans on for years down the road waiting for a Half-Life 3.
Oh, we've been waiting. And we will wait for a long time.
That's an interesting and awesome thing for Valve to do. I mean, definitely nowadays the indie game genre, people making their own games and selling them, is a big market, and I think it's a good idea for them to tap into that by allowing someone else to use their assets to make a game and allowing them to sell it on the market. It just looks good on their end, you know.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
So
and they still make profit from it. So
yeah,
it
so it
works out
just
for them.
encourages people more to trust Valve and to buy their products.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think it's really cool they did that. It's something you don't see very often, and yeah, hopefully they stay supportive of their community, making them money and keeping the community happy.
Yeah.
For our next bit of news, Blood and Wine, the expansion for Witcher 3, is said to be better and more refined than the actual game itself. It will include new monsters, quests, and a realm that is the size of the other realms in the game itself. They didn't want to compare this too much to the original because they said that the overall package of having the game and the 2 expansions is the way to play the game. But they're saying that all the things they've learned from Witcher 3 and making this first expansion have all culminated to something that they think is better than the original game. Do any of you play Witcher 3? Have you played it? Did you like it? Are you interested if you haven't played it? And are you excited about the expansion?
I've never played it, but I know it's supposed to be a really, really good game.
It's really good.
And I really want to play it, so I'll probably get it as soon as I get some extra cash flow.
You always borrow from me.
I could do that too. I could do that as well. But yeah, that sounds cool. That sounds awesome. I mean, for a great game, supposedly awesome game already, get even more content, that always appeals to me.
Well, and the 2 expansions also add 20 to 30 hours of content to it. So we talk positively about CD Projekt Red all the time on this channel, and this just for me, I'm just like, yeah, that makes sense. These guys really cater to their audience. They really respect them. What do you guys think?
I've only watched gameplays of Witcher 3, and the game looks absolutely amazing. And because that was the company that said that it was better, the actual producers of the expansion that said it was more fulfilling than the game. To have something that looked that good and have that much, what's the word I'm looking for? Can you read?
Content?
Fuck.
Fuck is the word I'm looking for.
I'm not a mind reader, I'm sorry.
He should be, goddammit.
Oh, I'm sorry.
For a company to have an expectation of an expansion of a game that they put so much effort into to be better than the original content really speaks a volume for what the people that purchase it to expect.
I own The Witcher 1 and 2, and I've played very little hours of it, if an hour. But
What do you think of 1 and 2? Because I've also played them.
out of the maybe hour I've played,
I barely played the first one. I could not play it. And the second one is really cool.
okay,
But
I haven't played the second one. Out of the hour I've played of the first one, I was like, I'm gonna go play Diablo.
yeah. I mean, for me, it's insert whatever game I'm playing at the time. I'm
Exactly.
going to play those 2. I could appreciate it because I didn't play when it first came out. And I was like, I can appreciate what people like this game. I played the second one. I'm like, the game's super fucking detailed and has a lot of work put into it. But the gameplay was so stiff and the mechanics were way fucking just not overcomplicated, but just clunky.
Right.
But yeah, just want to get your opinion. But anyway,
As far as the expansion goes, I think it's a good direction for other game makers to look at. Not necessarily just building upon what you have or expanding what you've already done, but to go a step further and create more, do more to the game than you originally intended to make it better, instead of just improving upon what you've already done. I think that's a really good idea and should be good inspiration for other game makers.
and even talking about like Hitman releasing an unfinished game and releasing mission packs or whatever, which isn't building upon the game itself. These aren't expansions. There's more content, which is what it is. They could learn something from a company that released a game that got stellar reviews. People love it. And then within that game itself, enhancing it through its expansions. I mean, like, that's literally they're polar opposites. You have a game that's unfinished with new stuff, and then you have a company that made an awesome game with fucking awesome expansions. So yeah, I agree that it's something that people could kind of learn from, if anything. I mean, it's well received for a reason, and people love that company for a reason. When Cyberpunk fucking whatever the hell, 77, what the fuck it's called, it's coming out. CD Projekt Red is making a Cyberpunk game. That's their next game. They've been working on it for years now. You're going to be able to make your own character, stats, all stuff like that. It's going to be open world, all this shit. It looks fucking amazing. Can't wait for it. That game's going to sell. Because Witcher 3 was well received, and they're a fucking respectable company. I mean, Hitman, we'll see. If their next game sells well after all the mistakes they keep making. And for our last bit of news, information on Microsoft's HoloLens has come out. HoloLens, for people who don't know, is not VR, but it is augmented reality. You wear a visor over your face, and you will be able to see things in augmented reality. They've released that it will last for 5 hours, and 2.5 hours when pushed to its limits. That's, open to speculation, whatever the hell that means. Will be completely wireless, which is impressive, in my opinion, and will connect Wi-Fi to other HoloLenses so you can share experiences with people. The dev kit, as of right now, when it releases, will be $3,000. What do we think of HoloLens in general? What do we think of the price point of the dev kit? What do we think of the potential of not VR, where everything is going, but the HoloLens?
I think that actually the HoloLens is a step beyond VR. VR, you have to have like a headset. You're not actually in the real world. You're in this, fake immersed world, which is cool and all, but like a lens like that, you're literally augmenting the real reality, like the reality of everything. I think that's the way everything's going to end up being, is you're going to get like, ultimately, the future, you're going to have like it implanted in your eyes, and that's how everything's going to work. Like, you're not going to see menus on like physical things anymore. It's going to be augmented.
You're making my mind go fucking crazy right now, because I'm a futurist and I think of all this shit about like death will be a side effect later in life, and we will have augmented reality in our eyes and all that shit. I completely believe that's going to happen. But my only thing is, I do think VR is, at right now, the more promising aspect, because VR creates realities for you, whereas augmented reality we already have on phones and stuff like that, and it's a neat thing. But like, for me, it seems like more of like an open HUD, like in a game, but in real life, which I think is cool. I think I was actually talking at my job with a couple of coworkers about like how cool it would be if you're like cooking and like the recipes just in your face as you're doing it or something like that. That'd be really neat. But as for a step forward for me personally, I could see that for sure. But I feel like that technology, once it evolves, will be commonplace. I think you said in the eyes, I believe that. But as of right now, I don't think we're going to get the immersive gameplay experiences that VR is going to offer, because the HoloLens has, for instance, Minecraft, but it's not Minecraft. It's literally just the Minecraft blocks that we know that you can kind of fuck with in front of you, but like, it's not an actual game, whereas the VR, you're there.
Yeah, I think HoloLens is ultimately they're going to go two different ways. The virtual reality, the VR stuff, is going to be exclusively for gaming, whereas the HoloLens is going to be incorporated into everyday life things.
Well, actually, I'm all over the place right now thinking about VR now, because I'm just like, the potentials. One thing that's really interesting with VR is not just for gaming. VR actually, for instance, you want to go check out a house you want to buy, you'll be able to virtually check it out. You don't have to travel. You can just go check it out. You can pay for concert tickets and be there, visually just looking around. You get to be there and see it. There's so many potentials. That's why Facebook bought it. The Oculus, because there's more potential there than just the gaming aspect. It's actually, for me, in my mind, and for a lot of people, the future, because it's taking, you don't have to leave your house anymore, which is sad. We're going to be the fucking
super sedimentary.
We're going to be we're going to be what the fuck is that Pixar movie with the robot?
Wall-E.
We're going to be Wall-E.
We're already there. We got this flying chair shit already.
But getting back to the topic, HoloLens, what do you guys think?
It's funny that you mentioned a concert and being able to go to it and experience it without purchasing the tickets, because I actually had an experience with, I believe it was VR. It was an Eric Clapton concert, and it was fantastic. Everywhere that I was looking, I was seeing different portions of the stage.
Where did you experience that at?
My job.
Oh, really?
It was a gift to the boss, and boss let everyone try it out.
What was he using? What is it?
I couldn't tell you.
Oh.
I couldn't remember the name of it.
What was it? A peripheral that you wore on your head, or yeah? And was it cool?
It was fantastic.
Really?
But I was sick to my stomach afterwards.
Yeah, that's something I keep hearing, especially with the VR and like roller coaster shit, stuff like that, and all the videos we've all seen of people fucking just freaking out in the chairs that fall over. You're like, and we actually talked in the last episode last week about like new rules are gonna have to be created where like you don't fucking interact with people VRing. You leave them alone. You make sure they're sitting down because standing up sounds awful. What do you think, Frank?
It sounds like a bad drug trip. Honestly,
Yeah.
Sounds like when I did shrooms.
Just put that out there for the world to see.
You want to tell us about the shroom trip you had?
Yeah. Okay. So we were down at the river and took some.
You're done.
And you know, it basically you just saw a bunch of patterns moving. And I mean, it wasn't like I was seeing dancing bears or anything like that.
Yeah.
But
That's
that's what
acid.
seems like the Oculus is
Yeah,
going to
that's some
offer
acid
you.
trips.
So it just seems like one big giant drug trip for anybody who doesn't want the body high or the after effects.
Yeah.
I'll give you my honest opinion. You
No,
asked.
for sure. Yeah, for me though, the HoloLens is an interesting thing. I feel like that's a very I kind of like what you were saying. I feel like it's something you kind of use for everyday things, whatever. I feel like it's the beginning of what the future will be, where like you look up something on your phone. Well, later you'll just be able to access that at a moment's notice, thinking about it,
Driving
and be able to
directions.
see it, all that stuff right in front of you. Think of Gran Turismo when you're driving and it's got that like line to tell you how to drive correctly. You'll be able to see that, but you know that's way in the future and that's a whole other fucking conversation. But the HoloLens I think is really interesting. What do you guys think about the 5-hour battery life of it? Wireless, it's not connected to anything. 2.5 based off of whatever the fuck pushing
Right
the
at
limits
peak,
is.
yeah.
I personally think 5 hours is actually pretty impressive because your average handheld, I mean, that sounds like a handheld to me, but it's a
Yeah.
device you're wearing on your face.
It seems a little short for me. I mean, if you're going to be using it for something like say you give it to like a trucker to use directions for driving, that's not a lot of driving time for a trucker.
Yeah.
Before you have to recharge that thing.
And I think that'd be way further down the line. But in your house,
right.
do you think you'd be using the HoloLens longer than 5 hours?
Oh yeah.
Yeah?
Oh yeah. I'd be all up on that shit.
Just walk around the house and everything, just...
Quiet, mom.
Never
I'm
take it
doing
off.
something.
You don't see what I see, Mom.
It reminds me of the Archer when the doctor he sees the little Asian
His
hologram
wife.
projection. Yeah, it just reminds me of that. Like, but only you can see it.
Right. Yeah.
But with the connectivity, the Wi-Fi, they said, you can
share
connect
it.
multiple HoloLenses, this is the biggest thing for me. Is because at first I was like, HoloLens seems like a fun toy. But, for instance, if like you had a table and there's some game where you like, think like the Star Wars circular chess thing they have on the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
If you're playing like some kind of mini game like that, or whatever, having another person with the HoloLens be able to interact with you and see what you're seeing, or whatever the fuck you're doing.
Beer pong.
Yeah, just a bunch of shit. I think it could be really cool. What do you think, Bren?
I think Wizard's chess is gonna be fucking cool.
No, for sure. What what do you guys think about the $3,000 price point? That's a dev kit, so it's early. But remember that the Oculus early models of the dev kit were like $200-$300. Now it's $600 as it's released. The $3,000 dev kit price point. Do you think that's going to go up, or do you think it's going to go down? It has to go down.
Has
in
to.
my opinion.
That's a peak.
Because
3,000 has to be a
nobody
peak.
is buying a $3,000 thing unless they're rich.
And,
Right.
and especially with what we've experienced with technology every 6 months, even less than that now, new technology comes out. So you're going to constantly get progressive and more innovative new technology. So for $3,000 for what will eventually be an outdated technology within a year, I think that's pretty steep.
I think it's probably their way of doing like crowdsourcing without actually doing an actual
That's a good point.
crowdsourcing and saying it's like, everybody fund this. It's like, hey,
You want to early, you want to develop,
Yeah.
pay us
and we'll-
$3,000.
Yeah, and
Be
it
the
helps
developer
pay
you're trying to be.
for producing it and developing it further, but at
Yeah.
the same time you get a little chunk in there to say,
That makes
I helped
sense.
with this.
Yeah, no, it's really interesting because it's almost like an inadvertent way of crowdsourcing.
Yeah.
Not saying, hey, give us money.
Yeah.
You want it here, but you got to give us this.
It seems so steep for something you're not 100% certain what you're getting until you experience
Yeah.
it. It's all word of mouth, what you read, what everyone else says. Your experience with it will infinitely be different than someone else's.
But you get a piece of the future.
But not for
You-
$3,000.
You can get a piece of the future though with VR for $600, which actually seems like a steal compared to the $3,000.
It really does.
In my opinion.
I think the virtual reality thing that I tried was like $150.
It's probably
I think it was like
Gear VR, what the fuck it's called, the Android-based one.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
Yeah. I'm actually interested in getting that. I want to check it out.
It was fucking cool.
Yeah.
I felt sick to my stomach afterwards, and that's what I've seen pretty consistently with the people that have experienced that exact same one.
Yeah.
But goddamn, it wasn't cool.
For fun, what would you like to see, not in VR, but in augmented reality? What would you like to see the HoloLens do? What's something that you would, if it wasn't $3,000, if you had access to and you could choose to get it or not, based off of this app that you could use, what's something you would think about getting? Me personally, like I said before, basic access to the internet I think would be cool. Having a HUD, having a timer. It sounds really cheesy, but like you're like in the middle of like cooking, you have the recipe right in your face, you're not like pulling out your phone. It's literally the middle ground between us checking our phones and the future where your brain just processes the information instantly. I think that has, for me personally, I'm not going to go jump out and buy that, but I see potential there.
Oh yeah.
But like, is there like a game type of thing you'd like to see in augmented reality, or like a useful thing, driving assistance, stuff like that?
I think that less video games would be more realistic on it. Like, yeah, you could play like I don't know, those
Pokemon.
Space Invaders on it or something like that. Pokemon. Yeah, well, they're already working towards something similar to that with the phones, but
Yep.
More real world games that we play just being augmented, so you wouldn't need the supplies to play a volleyball game. You would just mimic the motions, and the set would give you the illusion that you're playing real volleyball, or like any kind of like real world games that you play that involve physical
Can you
items.
imagine going out in your backyard and there's like 6 people with fucking
Just
with augmented reality headsets, and you're just looking at them, and they're all just like, and everybody's just like looking around, and you just don't see shit. You're just like, and then you put yours on, you see the ball and stuff, and it makes sense.
The correlation I keep coming to with this virtual reality and the lens things is Ghost in the Shell. I mean, if you watch enough Ghost in the Shell, you know that eventually virtual reality becomes so encompassed in reality that there's no distinction between the two anymore. So
and
I think
start hacking your eyes.
right, and I think that's ultimately where this is heading. Like we're
Yeah.
heading towards augmented reality in everything.
Yeah. No, it's definitely the future. Absolutely, I completely agree.
I think one cool thing that could be incorporated into that would be the ability for the device to recognize something that you're looking at and make, model, everything about it, and then offer you like an explosion diagram of it to be able to look at every little bit and be able to tell is something, if maybe something's broken inside of it, without ripping every little bit and piece of it apart.
Maybe even like working on a car or something.
Exactly. Being able to recognize every component inside of anything and pointing out like, oh, that wire was stripped inside of, 3 different components. You wouldn't be able to see that until you ripped it apart from the ground up.
Yeah.
Crazy for medicine.
They could add ads and shit. So like when you work on a computer with it on, and
Don't say
it's telling you
Don't
like,
say
fucking, oh, put this here. It's like, hey, you have the 960. Maybe like to upgrade to this.
I don't need no Lightspeed
Purchase it
brief commercials coming in my dreams.
on Amazon.
No.
For this, it's on sale right now.
Stay out of it. Ads. We got no place for you.
Kindle would argue. Anything you can think of?
I mean, they both basically covered it.
Yeah.
I mean, whether it be for medical purposes, where you can have an
Doctors,
instant
definitely.
X-ray and and look at somebody and be like, oh, your left shoulder's broken.
Yeah.
I can fix that.
Even the basic, they're having on phones, but you can literally pull your phone out, and if something's in another language, it'll auto-translate for you.
Yeah,
How cool
that's
would that
awesome.
be? To just be able to look at things, be like, I know what that says.
Does it math too?
Yeah.
It's
Pretty
crazy.
cool. So as a consumer, as we all are, anybody interested in purchasing a dev kit for $3,000? And if not, what price would you be willing to pay for augmented reality?
If I had the money, I'd probably be interested in buying it. I'm not very good at like development, but just the fact that I could have like the product and like work with it, that'd be amazing. I would definitely do it. A price point for it, probably a little more than a new phone would be the honest price I would pay for it.
It depends on what phone you're talking about, though, because some phones are like $800.
Well, yeah. I
Okay.
mean, I would be willing to pay that much for something like that could augment the reality like that.
I'm gonna go with free because it's an unperfected technology, and you want me to test your product out and give you feedback on how to fix it. Basically, I'm a game tester. You know, you're asking for my opinions, and I will give you.
Give me the augmented reality and give me $3,000.
Exactly. You pay me to test this out because I don't know what the consequences are. I could get eye cancer from this shit, and you don't even
You could
know.
lose yourself in the augmented.
Exactly.
Like,
There are
real?
so many different syndromes and illnesses that you could acquire from an untapped technology.
You could maybe want to throw up.
I could maybe want to throw up.
Brain tumors.
I could maybe assassinate George W. Bush. I don't know. It could, what if I
And
get
he's
a
out of the
virus?
limelight too. So that's really someone's got a hidden plan there.
Your channel's just been blacklisted. I'm sorry.
I'm just saying, though, there are so many. There's an infinite amount of possibilities of things that can go wrong.
Think of right around $1,000 if
Yep.
the technology that I received with that kit would be compatible with everything that would come out later on, every advancement that they would make on in-app, in-store, anything.
Here's how ridiculous I am. $200. I would not pay more than $200 for it.
It's better than free.
So I'm interested in it, but at a $200 price point, that's as much as I would want to pay for augmented reality because I feel like it has a lot of cool things, but I feel like phones already do that. And so essentially what you're paying for is the headset and the wireless connectivity and the battery life. So for me, you know, I feel like in a couple of years, you're not going to be everybody's going to be making an augmented reality headset aside from a VR headset. They're gonna not be that expensive. They can't be because phones already do it, especially with Gear VR. That's essentially your phone that you can just wear on your face. They're gonna have to drop that. And I know they're not gonna sell for $3,000. They can't.
No.
They're not gonna make sales.
No.
So that's where I'm at. I would buy it for $200, no more. But I would buy the Oculus Rift for $600. And I plan on doing that. So,
Right there with you.
yeah. But I think that's going to do it for this episode of Tasty Tuesday on Tasty Loot Gaming. Let us know in the comments below what you think about any of the subjects. Are you willing to spend $3,000 on augmented reality? What price point would you like? Anything, let us know in the comments below. Make sure to check us out on Tumblr and Twitter, Tasty Loot Gaming. Check us out on Twitch, Sleep Division. And make sure to hit that like and subscribe button if you liked the video. My name's Seth.
I'm Chris.
I'm Frank.
And I'm Brandon.
And we will see you on the next episode, guys. Take it easy.
Don't do mushrooms.
Bye.